was the trailer to one of my most favorite horror games of all time, Dead Space! And to all those that have voted on my DeviantArt account, I will review this game and every single one of its features, from its levels, to its story, to all the weapons, and most importantly, the various vicious creatures you will find on the SS Ishimura, a mining vessel meant to crack open planets. Now, let's start off with the menu screen, and it's actually pretty cool, showing various flashes of all the things you'll see in the game. You can even see the corruption, which I'll go into much greater detail in the future. Anyway, let's start a brand new game. This is the first thing you'll ever see in Dead Space. A little intro cutscene on what is going on. Soon we'll see the title card, and, well, I'll just let the scene play out. I will come back to you when it is appropriate.
It's me. I wish I could talk to you. I'm sorry. I'm sorry about everything. I wish I could just talk to someone. It's all falling apart here. I can't believe what's happening. It's strange. Such a little thing.
How many times you watched that thing? Guess you really miss her. Don't worry, we're almost there. You'll be able to look her up once we're on board. Sounds like you do have a lot of catching up to do.
Right, everyone, we're here. Sinking our orbit now.
All this trouble over that chunk of rock.
Deep space mining is a lucrative business, Ms. Daniels. EG7 is a gold mine according to prospectors' reports. Cobalt, silicon, osmium. Now, where is she? There she is. We have visual contact.
So that's Ishimura. Impressive.
The USG Ishimura. Biggest planet cracker in her class. And it looks like they already popped the cork.
Why is it all dark? I don't see any running lights.
Corporal, take us in closer and hail them. And stay clear of that debris field. We're here to fix their ship, not the other way around.
USG Ishimura, this is the emergency maintenance team of the USG Kellion responding to your distress call. Come in, Ishimura.
You're gonna need to boost the signal if it powers low.
Yes, we know. Boost the signal. More.
Never heard of a total communications blackout on one of these things. You'd think with 1,000 people on board, someone would pick up the phone.
What is that?
It's a busted array like we thought. Sounds like they're having problems with their encoder. You get us down there and Isaac and I can fix it. 48 hours max.
All right, you have the lady. Take us in. Let's see what needs fixing.
Gravity tethers engaged. Automatic docking procedures a go.
What the hell?
Sir, the auto dock.
What is it?
We're off track. We're gonna hit the hull.
Hit the blast shields. That guidance there is damaged. Switch to manual. Now.
Inside the magnetic field? Are you insane? Abort!
No! We can make it inside. Corporal, give you an order.
It's too strong.
Now, after that awesome entrance cutscene where you come in here, you'll get some little tutorials on movement, picking up items, and a bunch of other stuff. But I mostly will stay quiet, unless it's something very important. Anyway, back with the show. Hope you like that commercialism. Now let's get into this dark room and find out what's wrong with the ship.
Seems like everyone was trying to pack in a hurry.
There should be a security detail here.
Yeah? Well, there's not. There's nobody here. I can't pick up any broadcasts.
I know my way around this place, so most of these objectives are meaningless to me, but they may not be to you.
Huh. That doesn't look good. She's taken a lot of damage.
The tram system's offline. Getting around's gonna be difficult. The air seems to be flowing again. That's a start.
What the hell was that?
Automatic quarantine must have tripped when the filtration system restarted. Everybody relax.
What was that? Did you hear that?
Not sure.
The hell? I don't know. Something's in the room with us.
You are right. And now, ladies and gentlemen, introducing the main enemies of the game and the reason I like this game so much, the Necromorphs! Why I like them so much is quite simple. They're really simple. They are both terrifying monsters, as well as, well, effective monsters, but they can be easily killed, like shown here. After that whole ordeal, you'll find your first weapon, the plasma cutter, and, well, this text on the wall should show you what to do. The game fails to tell you, however, is you can shoot certain things, like this door generator thing. I don't know what it is. Anyway, now let's move on to actually killing one of these creatures, and as you can see, easily dealt with. And sometimes they drop ammo. I do not know why. Also have the ability to crush boxes as well as enemy limbs with this stomp attack, though it is not recommended. As you can see, you can get resources from those crates as well as these little boxes, as well as a few other things that I'll show you. This is basically like the ground ones, but on the ceiling. You can also find resources in lockers, only if they're blue. If they're red, you cannot access them. Oh yeah, and this weird thing is a save station. You can use it to save your data. I'll only show you this one, because I do not want to show you every single one. Though you can save through another means. And this will show what the stomp will do to a body, as well as showing you the basic punch. And this will show you how to heal. Just press square when you're low on health, though you have to have a health pack in order to do that. You can also just look in your inventory and press X, and that is it with that. Now, let's listen to this audio log.
Everybody loosen up. They're using the vents. That's how they're getting around the ship. Stay away from down. Get back. Get back.
Yes, they do come out of the vents. Now let's get back to the story. I'll only show what happens in Chapter 1.
Isaac! God, I can't believe you made it.
Isaac, we ran into more of them on the way over here. Are you okay?
More what? What the hell are those things? Is that the crew?
Keep your voice down. Whatever they are, they're not friendly, and half the doors on this ship are locked because of the quarantine. Now, we have to get to the bridge. But first, we gotta repair the tram system.
You're crazy, Hammond. You're gonna get us all killed.
If you listen to me, I'll get you out of here alive. Now, what's wrong with the tram?
The data board is fried, but there should be a spare in the maintenance bay. There's also a broken tram blocking the tunnel that needs to be repaired. Damn it, everything is on the other side of this quarantine. We can't reach it from here.
Now,
we can't, but you can. Isaac, if I can get to the bridge, I should be able to access the personnel files. You fix the tram, and I'll help you find Nicole.
Use the map screen to check objectives and important locations.
Here we have the map. Pretty cool, don't you think? You can also check your missions, check previous audio logs. You can even access your inventory.
I wish I could talk to you. I'm sorry. I'm sorry about everything. I wish I could just talk to someone. It's all falling apart here. I can't believe what's happening. It's strange. Such a little thing.
Right here, this is your inventory. It's pretty small, but you get to upgrade it later to carry more stuff. And this is one of the main complaints. They constantly remind you of cutting off the limbs, even though you fought only a few enemies at this point. Though I guess you should know how to deal with these things. Anyway, onto a new thing that will definitely be more useful. And this is the stasis module. Once you got this equipped, you can get through things like this, constantly shutting and opening door, which is so fast it will cut your limbs off if you go through it. But with stasis, you can just pause it. Go to one of these stasis stations, that's a weird word to say, to pause it. You can also find stasis batteries, but you have to go to your inventory in order to use them if you want to recharge it. You can also pause enemies like so, which is very useful for the fast necromorphs. Also in the early game, you will have your inventory fill up way too fast, so you might have to dump stuff, especially if you're not getting damage. Or you can just remove or use something, like this stasis battery. Here's an example of stasis used in a puzzle. You will mostly use it in this form. I do not know why this one is malfunctioning, but with a little stasis, we can then grab the damaged cart and move on for the rest of the level.
Retracing damaged tram car. Please stand by. Isaac, you did it. The tram is blocking the whole system. When they get the computer online, you'll be able to call the tram from the control room. Faster the better. I can hear something crawling around out there.
And here's an example of using it to kill an enemy. And here's another example of stasis being used for something just straight up funny. I mean, look at this. Oh, that is so hilarious. Here's an example of something else. You have to upgrade your weapons, your rig, your stasis, your kinesis, which I'll show later, and other stuff. And to do that, you need power nodes, which are found in these weird looking box things. And you use those power nodes on the bench, which, well, this little thing will explain a little bit, but I'm just going to outright show you. Right now, I'm going to upgrade the plasma caster. Better ammo and better damage. Now, let's see how this new and improved plasma caster works on enemies, as well as showing you the other things you can upgrade. There will be other weapons and stuff, but I'll show you that later. Now, let's see what this little cutter can do against these to test subjects. Also, sometimes necromorphs will play dead, though it's not that hard to figure out what they are doing, and they can be easily taken out. Some of them are just bad at this. I mean, really bad. But anyway, we got the materials to get the tram moving, so let's go on to the tram and let's continue with the story.
Tram arriving at flight deck station. Quarantine lifted.
Alright, we're on board and heading to the bridge. Good work.
Strange. The quarantine just lifted.
Whatever was in the flight lounge must have left. That's lucky for us. Isaac, get back to the carry-on and prep it for launch. We'll find out what we can from the bridge and meet you there.
If we live that long, you're out of your league, Hammond. This is suicide. We're going to
Your
die
lack
up
of
here.
confidence in me is to be noted, Miss Daniels. But I have a mission to complete, and that's exactly what I am going to do, with or without you. You understand each other?
Just get us out of here alive.
Now, let's move on and get the other thing, which involves going back to the area the creatures have been, well, seen. And I think this is actually a pretty scary and, well, interesting little scene. I'll just let it play out right now. That was actually a pretty good sneak attack, though I am more prepared to deal with these beasts. Eventually you will return to the ship. However, you have to fight some creatures on the way. And let's just say the way to the ship isn't, well, perilous. And, well, I'll just let you see what happens here. That's right, the ship explodes, and right after that you have to fight some necromorphs. And now you're stuck on the Ishimura with all these horrors, and who knows what else is here. Anyway, that is it. I will now show you several weapons and stuff, as well as something more important, right after we get a little recording.
What happened to the shuttle?
That was our ride home. It's the only way off the ship.
Kendra,
No, Hammond! This changes everything!
just let me think. Can you access the command computer?
It's no good. There's an executive lockdown of all primary systems. Without the captain's authorization, I can't access them.
Well, where's the captain?
Here he is. Captain Benjamin Mathias. Location? Med lab. Status? Deceased.
What? How?
I can't access that information. Find the captain and you'll find his rig. With his authorization codes, I can crack this computer wide open.
Damn it. Isaac, I'm sending the tram back to your location. Get to the medical deck and find that rig as fast as you can.
What was that?
And this is the store. You use it to buy, sell, and put not so important items in the safe. Yeah. The store has it all. And I'll buy the line gun, the plasma rifle, as well as a level 2 suit, and just experience this right now. You can also buy power nodes, but given the fact they cost, well, given the fact that they cost 1,000 credits, they're not really worth it sometimes. Though, you only find power nodes in certain parts of the level and only limited. There is one trick, but I'm saving that for the end. But anyway, if you have the cash, buy them. And if you don't have it, sell it. Though this is the last resort. Anyway, let's move on. Oh yeah, and if you want to see the screen, here's the screen for the weapon store. And this is what happens when you complete a stage. Just watch this. And this is what the first chapter is called. New Arrivals. Very fitting. And this is how you save. Just click here, press that for the brand new chapter, and it will start you right at that chapter. Anyway, now, let's move on to chapter 2. Intensive care. You can also see little tips on the bottom of the screen. I just wanted to point this out. And now we're in the new area, and we'll get a little recording on what to do here. And this blind woman will give us a new tool. Just watch what happens. And I'll explain what it is soon.
Just like you said. I saved this for you.
This is the Kinesis module, and you can use it to move objects. I will show you right now on how to use it. As you see right here, you can pick up heavier objects, as well as corpses, ammo, power nodes, and a bunch of other stuff. Yeah, now let's move on to the various weapons you have in this game. Let's start off with the pulse rifle. It doesn't cut off its limbs as good as, well, the plasma caster, but it does have unique features, as well as the line gun, which is basically a bigger version of the plasma cutter. And soon, you'll see another use for Kinesis. As you see here, I use Kinesis to move this big, heavy machinery. However, it's on a track array, so you cannot use it that much. And this is another example of using the line gun to kill enemies. Though it's not that filled with ammo, so I suggest you use it sparingly. While the pulse rifle has a lot of ammo, but it runs out very quickly. Anyway, let's look at some more footage of the pulse rifle to show you its full capabilities. But the pulse rifle can be used on smaller enemies like this lurker, and it even has a special ability, which I'll show you right now. Know what that is, but I guess it's cool. Also get a pretty awesome homemade flamethrower. I mean, look at this. A single jet of flame as well as a longer beam of flame. It rips apart these weaker enemies. However, some enemies are completely immune to this. So only use this on groups and make sure you don't get grabbed. I mainly use the plasma cutter, the line gun, the flamethrower, and the pulse rifle, but I will show the other weapons, like the Ripper, which basically uses kinesis to use, well, buzzsaws. I do not know how this is on mining equipment, but it is, and it's also good at cutting off these stupid necromorph limbs. Yeah, take that, you stupid slashers. Here we have the contact beam. It does heavy damage to singular targets, though I chose the wrong creature. It also has the ability to do a heavy bolt of damage around it, which damages anything close. The force gun, well, just shoots pure straight up force, as well as the ability to deploy bombs. Anyway, that's all the weapons. Now onto the suits, or rigs as they're called. This is the rig 3. Just watch and I'll also show how much you can put in it. As you see right here, you can see that we can fit a significantly more items than before. Very useful indeed. You will find the 4th rig in Chapter 7, Into the Void. However, I do not have enough credits at the moment, so I cannot buy it. So yeah, I will show you what it looks like soon, like now. This is the inventory. Now let's move on to the next one. And this is the last suit you get in the game, until you complete it again, where you get a special thing for New Game Plus. But I'll talk about that later. Now just look at this suit. And here is the inventory. And now let's move on to other aspects of the game. You can also use power nodes to access secret rooms, and there's also something else in here that I will show you. Chromatics and a gold card, which you can use to sell. And they do not cost that much, but there are more expensive ones that you can find. I will show them off soon. You can also find ruby cards, which cost a lot more. I will show you how much they are. And as you see here, it costs a lot more than the standard gold one. Yeah, a lot more. I guess ruby costs a lot of money. Get it? As the name of the game suggests, you can actually go into space. When you do, it is dead quiet. And you have to have limited oxygen. And if it runs out, you die! But these areas can be easily escaped, and you can even use the oxygen things, like shown here, to recharge it, as so. But once you get back into the ship, the air will flow and you'll go through with no other problems. Though, since this ship is somewhat broken down, expect for certain areas to just run out of air. There are also various 0G areas they can jump across to get to, well, other areas. And I guess they're pretty fun. However, they have hidden dangers, which I will show very soon. And as you see right here, some enemies can actually come in the 0G zones, as well as vacuum, since they're undead. Anyway, now let's move on to each of the levels. Levels are Course Corruption, Obliteration Imminent, Lethal Devotion, Environment Hazard, Into the Void, Search and Rescue, Done on Arrival, where you explore a military vessel that crashed in the Ishimura, End of Days, Alternate Solutions, and finally, Dead Space, the final level. as well as the one where you escape the Ishimura and go to the colony, where you find, well, let's talk about those necromorphs. Here we have the first basic necromorph, the Slasher. They're pretty basic, but they're very iconic. Imagine a 4-armed zombie with blades for hands, and they come in a variety of variations, like seen here. And they're overall pretty simple, and they're everywhere, so this is all you need to know. Just cut off their arms and legs, and this one is a perfect example on what happens if you cut off their head. Anyway, on to the next one. The next one shows up in this quick little scene. I'll just let you have a look at it before I talk about it in major detail. After that little surprise, you eventually do fight that unique necromorph, along with a Slasher. It is simply known as the Leaper, since they like to leap off stuff, and they kind of resemble a Skullcrawler, don't you think so? Anyway, just cut off its arms, its head, or its very, very long tail. Anyway, now let's move on to the next nightmare beast. The next necromorph is unquestionably the smallest, the Swarmers. And, well, they're very tiny and hard to hit, but they take one hit to kill. And if you get too close, you can actually rip them off. Though, I suggest you shoot them, otherwise, well, they might swarm you. On to the next one. The next necromorph is actually quite small. It is simply, well, a baby given some pretty terrifying tentacles. They are known as the Lurkers, and they are nothing to laugh about. They're one of the few necromorph types with a ranged weapon, as seen here. But they can be very dangerous in close-range combat. I'll just let you, well, see what happens next. And seen right here, you can just kill them with ease. Though you have to shoot off their tentacles, or if you survive the quick time event, kill them instantly. On to the next one though. Also have the Infector, a special necromorph with the ability to infect other organisms, as seen here. And if you notice, this Slasher is not, well, the same. This is a Dark Slasher, or upgraded Slasher. Basically, it's a bigger, more terrifying version of the standard slashers. And they can be a bit of a trouble, but they can be dealt with the same way as a normal one. And the Infectors, well, they're not that very tough. Now, I will show you the rest of the very strong necromorphs, or dark necromorphs, or whatever you call them. Here's some more footage of the Dark Slasher. Not much else to say. There are also Dark Leapers, and they're really tough to deal with, though if you have a strong enough weapon you can deal. And yes, there are Dark Lurkers, and, well, they come in much greater numbers than the others. And yes, regular Lurkers can go into 0G as well as Leapers, as well as the Darker Leaper. Anyway, now we come to one of the larger necromorph types, the Tentacles. And I would just want you to experience this scare. But if you shoot the glowing orb, you'll eventually break it, and you'll escape. Now on to a very special necromorph, the Pregnant. Despite the name, they are not female. Though, they do have the special ability, if you cut them open, a bunch of swarm will come out. So yeah, take out these creatures with caution. And even sometimes they start popping out lurkers. And also, the gigantic tentacles can call other enemies or just slam upon you, so be careful in areas like this. But just do what you do if you get grabbed, shoot the glowing bits, and that is it for this enemy. On to something more terrifying and disturbing. Notice this guy in this wall? This is the corruption. Any human that is placed upon it will turn into this, but it's merely a larval stage for something much more horrifying. The next enemy has a pretty impressive entrance. Now, let's look at this brutish necromorph. And now introducing the Brute, one of the tougher necromorph types. And you can't just shoot off its limbs. This beast will crush you if you try and attack it head on. So stasis it and go for those injured limb areas, the yellow parts. And once you do so and cut off at least 2 of those limbs or shoot it in the back, you will kill this brute. And they also have another attack, which I will show you now. Good thing you only fight brutes one-on-one, otherwise it would be much harder. Anyway, now I will show you what happens if you cut off one of the brute's limbs. Since it can no longer charge at you, it is forced to use a different tactic, shooting giant yellow explosive balls, but otherwise, this creature can be defeated. You can even throw them right back at it. And that is all. After that, we actually encounter the next necromorph, a rather bizarre one. I mean, look at this. It's literally a head and a pair of arms attacking me. However, they're not that hard to kill in terms of damage, but they are super fast, meaning they'll be hard to hit them. So be careful when you're around this thing, and you'll see where those come from. Remember that guy in the corruption? Well, this is what happens if you leave them alone. This is the Guardian, the most disturbing creature since it's still alive, and it constantly spreads out these little things that have the lurkers' spikes. That do not get too close to this thing, or it'll cut your head off. But overall, they're not that hard to deal with. Just stay away from the pods, because they will explode. Don't worry, I will talk about this beauty soon. Very soon! You only encounter these things once, these toxic air things. I do not know their name. But they're very easy to kill, but be warned, as soon as you kill a few of them, enemies will come to attack. Though I do like how you get rid of this one. Just press this button, then go all the way back. Of course, using stasis to freeze this, and then shoot it. Oh yeah, and the first boss is behind the door, known simply as the Leviathan, a gigantic, monstrous necromorph. There's a whole thing on how to kill it, and eventually you do defeat it. I'm not going to show you the boss battle, but let's just say it is interesting.
Get in there and kill it before it contaminates the entire ship.
And we go straight to the new enemy, the Exploders. They're quite simple. See those big energy sacks? I use them to explode their targets. And overall, yeah, they're quite simple in terms of enemies. And you fight these things in multiple parts of the game. But luckily, those explosive sacks are easy to destroy. You can even just take them off the creatures and then throw them at the receiving end, as well as other enemies. Now, let's go and see where those dismembered heads and arms come from. And walking from the corner, introducing the Deviant. Possibly the creepiest sounding necromorph of all. Not just because of what it is, but they make some very disturbing sounds. And I call that because once you divide them, well, just watch. You know where those arms and legs and the heads came from. And they even have a special kill animation that I'll show you now. The head grabs onto you, and if you survive, you can break it. Now I'm going to show you what happens if you don't. When you lose against the head, and it becomes you. Quite scary, don't you think? The next necromorph you encounter in this military ship. Just watch this little scene, and, well, we'll talk about it later. Here we have one of the fastest necromorphs in the game, the Twitcher. Named so for the fact that these are soldiers with stasis units embodied in their flesh, making them extremely fast. I mean, look how fast they are. They can even dodge the shots of my kinesis just to slow them down. But they're basically like any other slasher. Yeah. Now, let's move on for something very, very special.
Over here. I've been trying to reach you my phone now. The gun is singularity called. That's how to get out of here. Don't wait for me. Fuck me.
That's right, there are elite versions of the Brute, and now let's get our revenge for killing our co-worker. And they're basically like the same as the last one, except they're a lot tougher, and the room you're in doesn't have that much space. Though you will see this thing again, trust me on that. And I think that is all the necromorphs, but there is one more thing I will show you. But first, let's kill this monster. And it also drops a diamond plate, which I'll show you how much that is very soon. See, they're quite expensive. So if you see one, sell it and get a lot of money out of it. Now for the thing that created all these necromorphs and started all this trouble on the Ishimura. The one, the only, Marker! An alien artifact found on Aegis 7. And there's even an entire religion around it, but I'll save that for the sequel. After collecting this, you encounter one of the craziest scientists I've ever seen. Yes, even crazier than the Frankenstein's relative from Frankenstein's army.
And yet you keep on going. It almost makes me think that we had hope as a species. Are we the only one who sees that we have died out a long time ago? We just haven't accepted it yet. Stop running. Stop your struggle. Our future, your future, the future of our race ends here. Allow me to introduce you to humanity's child, the children that will replace us. Our greatest creation.
Now introducing the one, the only, Dahaka, or the Hunter, or the Regenerator, which you'll see very soon. you may cut off its limbs. But that is useless, for this being can regenerate, removing the necromorph's greatest weakness. Now, you have to deal with a monster that can never die. Nothing can stop it. Nothing! You can only slow it down with kinesis, and other necromorphs will appear to help it. Oh, this beast is relentless. It will not stop chasing you. There are several audiologs on this creature and its creation, as well as the man who made it. In fact, why don't we have a look at his room? More like a cult leader's room than anything else, don't you think? And this audiolog explains the origin of the hunter.
that afflicted the colony. Only yesterday he told me he had spoken to his wife, but Amelia Kine has been dead for some years. My subject grows restless. Patience. Your time is soon. Very soon.
We'll eventually find out what that doctor has been doing.
The salvation of our species. These specimens will return to Earth. I will spread their divine glory across the entire planet. I will leave you with my creation. Embrace the inevitable.
Oh, he sends his beast after us. And you stop this guy by using the same method he used to capture all these other necromorphs. Rip off his arms and legs, and then freeze him. I mean, this is pretty simple of a boss fight, but at least it is cool, don't you think? Get it? You guys know fun. Now, freeze! And we can now have a look at our frozen hunter statue.
Mercer's lockdown. There's a secondary tram station nearby, and you can take it to hydroponics. Let's just...
Farewell, but that is not the last we'll see of him.
There will be no escape for you, my friend. You have been most resourceful up until now, but my creation is free. Repose. You have been alive. Now it's time to play your part.
He has returned. Twice as angry and even more aggressive for freezing him. Now is the time we have to deal with him once and for all, right after we close this. Of course they do a stage like this when you're locked in the room with one of the most deadliest necromorphs of all time. And of course, there are other necromorphs showing up. But I do not hate this stage. I think it's pretty cool and a bit suspenseful, don't you think? Now I'll use this time to explain why I like it. Well, I like its design, its looks, its lore. And I think this guy has a lot of potential. Like, what if his intelligence was kept along with the regeneration? Don't you find that interesting? Though, I still like him the way he is. I'm even planning on making something very similar to him in my stories, but I'm not going to tell you anything other than that. Anyway, let's Just blow off these necromorphs' limbs and get the hell out of here. I think the main reason I like him is because he clearly has the best death animation out of all of them. I mean, look at this. Now to show you how to defeat this monster once and for all. It turns out this shuttle has enough flames to disintegrate this monster. You cannot regenerate if there's nothing to regenerate from, don't you think? Now, let's end this. And the regenerator is no more. Though, there are a few twitches that come after you, but they're not much of a problem. Anyway, that was my absolute favorite enemy. I guess the last thing to talk about after I kill these twitches and one is to talk about some mini-games as well as, well, what you get after you kill the hunter, as well as what you get at the end of the game. That's right, you get an extra power node. Not much, but it's something, don't you think? The first minigame is this shooting one, where you have to shoot various targets. Red ones you shoot, the blue ones you don't. And it gets significantly harder and harder. You get prizes at the end of each level. The final one is a power node, so I suggest you do that. And I do not want to talk about this that much. I find it very hard and frustrating. Anyway, on to the next one. This is, technically speaking, the first ever minigame you do, where you have to shoot asteroids before they hit the ship. You even use this for a boss fight, but I'm not going to tell you that, because that will be a spoiler. Anyway, on to the last one. The last thing is known as Z-Ball. Think of it like space basketball, where you have to shoot things in these little hoops. I do not know the rules, and you can just look up on the wiki what they are. But it's here, and you can get another power node by doing this minigame too, as well as a few other things. But there are enemies here when you first come in, so be prepared. Anyway, on to what you get at the end of the game. At the end of the game, you get a new suit, backstory logs, 5,000 credits, 10 power nodes, and an impossible mode unlocked. Don't you find that interesting? And if you want to see what this new suit looks like, well, have a look. There's also a little secret I want to show you. This is something I actually never done in my playthrough, so you can totally do it without it. Go to Chapter 2, go into the room where you encounter the infected and, well, upgraded slasher, kill both of them, grab all the things in here. That includes the power node, the health pack, which I didn't get, the ammo, and that credits. Put them all on the other side of the arena, and then go to the elevator. Open this door, grab all the stuff, put them in the elevator. down the elevator, and once you get to the bottom, which will not take that long, go to the save area, but do not save, just get close enough that it makes that sound, then go back up and watch the magic. And as you see here, all the items have been returned to their rightful areas. They have been duplicated. If you're really careful, you can use this to get infinite power nodes. So yeah, if anyone has trouble, just use this trick, and you can upgrade all your weapons, armor, and schematics. You can even sell your upgraded weapons to get a huge bunch of cash. Or you can just duplicate that one cash piece that's there as well. Now that you know this, it will make your time in Dead Space easier. So, if you like what I have made, like and comment down below on what is your favorite Dead Space enemy, weapon, location, or fact. Also subscribe if you want to see anything new that I have made. Anyway, goodbye! If you were the one that voted for this game, feel congratulated, since you're the one that made this possible. Anyway, maybe next Halloween I'll review its sequel.